Hi, and welcome to another TDA Talks as part of our Future Tech community, a 10-minute fireside Q&A session with myself, Kim Wardle of TDA, the Tech, Product and Design Talent Agency. And although placing top talent is our day job, we also love to give back to our communities. And today, I'm delighted to be joined by Ned Lomigora, AI expert and founder of 387 Labs. Ned, I'd love you to introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you, Kim, for having me. I'm the founder of 387 Labs. This is a AI-first company, and we're a full-stack AI company building solutions not only in the AI space, but also adding applications around the solution. So if you think of a car, the chassis would be the application layer, the engine would be your AI, and everything that you use to orchestrate models or AI would be your wheels or a gas pedal or your brake pedal. So we built the full stack solution. We have resources in our talent in Southeastern Europe, in South America, as well as in Western Europe. So we're kind of spread, and that enables us to really reach clients in different time zones and gives us a very quick feedback loop with our clients. We do three basic things. One is developing solutions. Another is AI training, which we found that was really important to most of our clients. And we also do consulting on strategic consulting, helping companies figure out how to apply AI to their use cases and what use cases actually to attack first. So there's a kind of a three-pronged approach that we use in our company.
Fantastic, very impressive. And what advice would you give to business leaders who are seeking to integrate AI into their companies today?
Well, there's a lot of pundits out there and a lot of advice given. There's a whole industry behind it, but I'll just focus on some of the most important things that came out of research, as a matter of fact, recently by McKinsey. First of all, I'll preface it by saying that 65% of respondents use, in the US at least, say that they're using AI in their organization. So that means that, adoption rate has really went up. And if you can see last year and this year, adoption rate has really jumped up a lot. However, the successful companies found that 70% of them found that data is the biggest issue. So my advice would be to really work on their data. So when they're implementing data orchestration, data organization, actually getting data to the models and integrating data into the models is a very big deal, as well as how you secure that data and how you actually produce enough data and find enough data. And when I say find enough, a lot of companies don't actually know what the data is in their organization. Where is it stored? How is it stored? So that is another aspect. So data is the most important thing. Second is risk and responsible AI. And the third one is the operating model. The advice there is to really focus on implementing agile ways of working and effective sprint performance management. The most important thing of all, in order to really differentiate yourself as a company, is to build custom developed tools, not just off-the-shelf solutions. In order to do that, you have to have a discipline of testing and validation in your release process for models. You have to have clear process to iteratively improve these models. So this is all very sort of a disciplined approach, but very necessary, because the real value in companies can be found by implementing custom solutions, not off-the-shelf solutions. So the most important thing for any company that wants to really lead in this field is to use their own data and their own processes to develop and build these models. And that goes for different ways of how you actually go from basic prompting the model, how you differentiate your brand through prompting, which takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and most companies don't necessarily put a lot of time and effort in it, but it is super important to differentiate yourself from all the off-the-shelf solutions we can find out there. So those are some of the ways I would suggest. And just to say that at the end, I think most companies should think of AI as rewiring their business for AI innovation. That should be their leading sort of a thought of how to approach AI.
Absolutely. And obviously, when they're adopting AI, and you mentioned, looking at their data, surely there'll be skills gaps within the organizations that comes with that. What challenges have you seen with other companies that you've worked with? What have they faced when, it comes to hiring AI talent?
Right. Well, so we also do AI training, so we are very aware of these challenges. When you're starting to build AI solutions, well, one of the first problems I mentioned, data being the biggest problem. But once you start to build, you realize also that you don't have enough talent, and this goes for maybe a few companies in the world. Your Meta, Google, Apple, they might have enough talent in AI, but most other companies don't. So AI skills are in very, very high demand. About 69% of HR leaders in companies say that it's very, very challenging to hire people today. About 66% of new hires are getting pretty much the asking the salary. So that just shows you where there's an imbalance in the market, because it's very hard to find talent. There are solutions such as bringing talent from overseas, which is a very arduous process, very costly, and it's not very well developed, and it's only small and limited number of people that can actually come through. The other is education in our country, in the US, is sort of not producing enough. So that would be enough AI talent. So that would be another additional problem. The way that our company has been solving this problem is really finding talent where talent is, going to locations where there's a strong STEM education, traditional education, and finding talent there. And that gives you several options, which is very quick, finding of the talent. So procuring talent very fast, so saves you time. Also cost-effective way of do it, and you have a very large pool of talent that you can't really find in the US today. So those are some of the ways that I would say we're addressing, but also some of the real worries that we have in the country, and this is not going to go away anytime soon. So I think we are going to be seeing shortages of talent in many in the coming years.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I don't want to give all your secrets away, but where would you say the countries are that you're seeing some of the best talent come from?
Yeah, so I would say we see, and this is because we have worked in these countries. We see in Southeastern Europe, we see very traditional STEM education, strong physics, math background, basic sciences. We see a lot of the talent coming from those countries. If you look at the map in Southeastern Europe, and to some extent Eastern Europe. Then we have a really high rise of talent because of the government investment in South America, specifically Argentina, Chile, and Colombia. We're actually operating where we have a center. One of the centers is in Colombia, and their government, for example, invests a lot of money in developing AI talent through universities and whatnot. So those are the regions really where you can find talent. And the reason why it is not just any other talent, like before we could have code academies and produce talent in 3 to 6 months, which really over the last decade diluted the software engineering because we had very fast paced a production of talent that really wasn't capable of doing very high level complex tasks, but medium to lower level tasks. AI is very different. You can't just pull someone out and train him in 3 months to become a data scientist, machine learning engineer, or data engineer. You do have to have a background in engineering in some of the hardcore disciplines like statistics, probability, math. So those are the disciplines that you just can't train somebody over a few months period. And that's why you have to go to these other countries where they have really strong educational systems that produce this talent. Like I mentioned, where you can find it at a reasonable cost, and where you can find talent, a pipeline of talent that's actually been developed. So that's where we find, and that's where I would recommend people look for.
Thank you. That's really interesting. And the ultimate question, what does the future of AI look like to you, Ned?
Well, this is a huge question, and everyone, if they tell you otherwise, nobody can see really more than a month or two ahead, because it's very difficult. Even the top AI researchers in the world, you really can't tell you why an LLM chose a specific token in a sequence of tokens, right? So that's how complex these systems are. So, and it is also translates into business. Figuring out what the strategy should be for any particular business is very difficult. So my approach to that is to really take a sort of a approach of work with as many off and shelf models as well as custom models as you can. The spine and brain of your enterprise of the future should really rely on a well-orchestrated mixture or cocktail of multiple of these foundational models. So like I mentioned, both off-the-shelf solutions and custom developed tools. And you can see great examples of that in some companies. That way, you're really preventing your company from relying too much on specific tool like ChatGPT, because tomorrow, someone else like Anthropic will release Claude like they did 3.5 version that is better than say ChatGPT. And of course, there's also always Google with Gemini, and they're releasing their LLM. So you never know in this race who's going to win ultimately. So you have to distribute your bets. You have to like hedge your bets, if you will, and really work with a mix of these models. So this is what I would say the future brings. Having really focus on multiple models. The second thing, that very important thing that does not have to do a lot with technology, is the following. When you are implementing AI solutions, we see attention or focus being put like this. 10% of basically all the effort goes into building the algorithms, figuring out the AI. 20% is setting up the data infrastructure and your tech backbone to actually support those AI tools. That goes for scalability of the solutions as well as security and other things that you need to have in place. The 70% of effort of every AI installation, every AI initiative really goes to changing and modifying or improving your business and your business readiness as well as your people readiness to embrace AI. So it's really, again, 70% is the people business. It's a business and people transformation, which, we talk about technology all the time, but reality is in order to get to that point, we had surveys done in a number of places. One in the bank recently in Europe, where they asked people, would you use ChatGPT or generative AI for to solve a problem? They readily said, most of them, yes, they would use output to solve their own problem. But when they asked them, would you challenge your own superior if you get the result from generative AI that is different than what your superior thinks, most of them said no. So this is even though you have data, you have the reasoning behind it, most people would not dare to change the outcome because of the political and other issues. So we have a lot of work to do in enterprises from the people and business transformation perspective.
Yeah, we really do. Well, thank you so much for your advice, insight, and joining us today. Business leaders, if you're looking to learn more about integrating AI into your business, then please get in touch with Ned. And also, I have to announce, Ned will be our guest speaker actually at the next Future Tech event, which will take place on September 3rd. So if you do want to hear more from him and get your questions answered, please ensure you sign up for that, for your complimentary ticket. So thank you so much, Ned. Have a great day.
Thank you, Kim.